Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
4:30 this morning. Beautiful start out there with now fall just 3 weeks away from today. I'm going to show you how long we hold on to that fall feel coming up.
Stepping down, the interim president of St. Augustine's University is leaving his role. His decision coming just days before the start of the school year. And the Belichick era begins. UNC kicks off the football season tonight. The excitement on campus ahead of Chapel Bill's sideline debut. A lot of exciting things as you're waking up this Monday, Labor Day. Thanks for joining us here on WRAL News. I'm Chris Lovingood. Let's talk about that weather forecast because it looks like we got another taste of fall on the way, and Chris Michaels is tracking that very closely.
Chris, it's 55 out there this morning. One of the coolest mornings we've had in quite some time. So if you're getting an early start, you may just need an extra layer. A little bit of a breeze overall, not too bad. Beautiful morning for some exercise. I know Labor Day, you're supposed to take the day off, but if you feel like working out outside, it's fantastic for that. 7 a.m. we're at 61 degrees. By 9 a.m. we're at about 67 degrees. And very similar to yesterday, this afternoon is going to be similar to yesterday. So we see mostly sunny sky, a few fair weather clouds, low humidity, a little bit of a breeze, and a high temperature of 79. Now, we are talking about some newer trends that are showing up as we head later in the week. Best chance of scattered showers and storms on Thursday. We may, however, actually warm up into the weekend, whereas it looked like we were going to try and cool things off. I'm going to show you what's causing that change in the trends coming up in just a little bit.
All right, sounds good. We'll come back to you in just a bit, Chris. Anticipation has been buzzing for months, and now the moment is almost here. Tonight, Bill Belichick will make his Chapel Hill debut. WRAL's Ali Kadlabar is on campus this morning. Ali, there are a lot of events that are happening today as fans are getting ready for the kickoff.
Yes, Chris, and one of them is actually set up behind me. You can see multiple tents already set up. There's even a stage. This is where Chapel Thrill, the new concert series, begins tonight. Bill Belichick and the team will walk from the Old Well to the stadium. They're going to parade through the Chapel Thrill setup ahead of the country music star and former Carolina football player Chase Rice's performance. UNC Senior Associate Athletic Director Rick Steinbacher says the anticipation about Belichick's debut is unmatched.
You know, it's Monday night, it's Bill Belichick, so much excitement, so much enthusiasm, and to be able to have his first game at Carolina in Keenan on a Monday night, which we've never done before, I can't remember anything quite like this.
Now, the team is going to start that Old Well walk around 5:30 p.m. The Chapel Thrill concert series kicks off with country music star and former Carolina football player Chase Rice at Polk Place, right here where I'm standing. That's at 6 p.m. Live in Chapel Hill, Ali Kadlabar, WRAL News.
And just a reminder, we will have team coverage at the start of the Chapel Bill area here throughout the day. You, of course, can stick with WRAL for live reports from campus before and after the game. Breaking overnight, the interim president of St. Augustine's University resigned. The university made that announcement just before 10:30 last night. It says Marcus Burgess is leaving because of personal reasons. Interim provost and vice president of academic affairs for Janice Peoples will step in as interim president, at least for now. Classes at St. Aug's are set to start tomorrow. And this morning, more than 50 people are out of their homes because of a fire at a Wayne County apartment complex. This happened around 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon in the Rosewood community off Highway 70 near NC 581. You can see the significant damage to that building there, the smoke billowing as well. Firefighters were out there for hours watching for hot spots and helping neighbors. And Larry Stewart told us he didn't even have time to put on his shoes to help his daughter and dog escape their second floor apartment. His wife was outside putting up decorations when she smelled smoke.
When I looked up and I saw flames, I immediately took my phone out and I dialed 911. And I ran in and I told them, dial 911 behind me, and I ran. And I was telling everybody to get out, get out, get out, going to different floors, get out, it's a fire.
3 people were taken to the hospital, and the Red Cross is helping the people who are out of their homes. Just a heads up, there are places closed today for Labor Day. It's a federal holiday, so that means that government offices are closed too. Banks, the post office, the DMV, all will be closed. Some waste collection services will also take a pause today. Stores such as Harris Teeter, Whole Foods, Walmart, and even Target will be open. For a full list, you can head to our website, WRAL.com. A person is hurt because of a shooting at a Raleigh apartment complex, and that happened around 7:30 yesterday morning on East Davie Street. 35-year-old Leslie Buford is facing charges, including assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill. And police say the victim was taken to the hospital and is expected to recover. We're learning more about a crash Friday night in Harnett County that injured 3 people, including a Dunn deputy fire chief. The crash happened head-on, and it was on US 301 near Hodges Chapel Road. Troopers say a pickup headed the opposite way crossed the center line. The truck hit a Dunn Emergency Services truck head-on. And Josh Brown is a first responder chaplain with Highway Patrol. He says he was riding with responding troopers when this happened. He helped keep the people in the truck calm while others helped rescue them.
And I was just able to tell that girl, hey, listen, I'm a pastor. I'm here to help you. All of these people are here to help you. And I said, we're going to get you out of here safely. And she said, you know, am I going to die? And I said, no, you're not going to die. They're going to take care of you. And, you know, her leg was broke. It was obvious. And I told her, I said, they're going to take really good care of you.
Deputy Chief Rodney Eason was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. A man and woman in the pickup truck were also taken to Wake Med, but so far, no charges have been filed. Tonight, you could be the one to get that lucky lotto ticket. The jackpot is the 5th biggest ever, $1.1 billion for the Powerball. If you win and choose the lump sum payout, you would get nearly $500 million. You can watch the drawing tonight on WRAL right before the 11 o'clock news. Starting today, non-military personnel going to Camp Lejeune will be asked to show a real ID. And this change affects visitors, contractors, vendors, and service providers. They will have to show their real ID at the Visitors Control Center. And while that is the preferred form of ID, other forms of ID may also be used. Costco's new shopping policy takes effect today. Back in June, you may recall that Costco introduced shopping hours exclusive to people with executive memberships. That meant that other customers had to wait until after 10 to shop. Well, the company said the policy was not followed strictly. Costco says the grace period ends today and will be enforced. Some customers, though, are not happy with the change. They say the company is favoring its higher-paying members and alienating the rest. Democratic Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona paid a visit to Raleigh for a veterans town hall. Attorney General Jeff Jackson joined Kelly for that event. Kelly says he wants to use the Labor Day weekend to address the needs of North Carolina's large and growing population of veterans.
Across the country, it is much worse than it was a year ago because of the actions that this administration has taken, firing employees of the Veterans Administration, the VA healthcare system. It just hurts veterans. It makes it harder for them to get appointments, to get seen. They get sicker.
Kelly was also in Raleigh to support former Governor Roy Cooper in his U.S. Senate run in 2026. As kids head back to school, there are new concerns about who can get a COVID vaccine shot and where. The FDA narrowed approvals for the vaccine to people 65 and older and younger people who have an underlying health condition. The White House says the FDA's decision does not affect the availability of vaccines for Americans who want them. CVS says its locations will require a COVID vaccine prescription in 13 states. That does not include North Carolina. Walgreens says it is prepared to offer the vaccine in states where it is able to do so. Your time is 4:38. Country Club returns, a community fixture destroyed in the Eaton fire. How the Altadena community is celebrating its grand reopening. Plus, railroad rescue, dramatic video showing the moments that a boy on train tracks in Pennsylvania, how a Good Samaritan jumped in to get him to safety. And a beautiful start to the Labor Day holiday. We're giving you a live look at Fenton and Cary. Meteorologist Chris Michaels shows us when we may see our last 90-degree day of the summer.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
4:42 on this Labor Day morning, starting out with a clear sky overhead. That's why our tower is lit in blue. And if there's anything about this summer, it's weather. It's like I'm not always going to be all that you expect from me, right? Temperatures are in the mid-50s right now on September the 1st. That is about 10 to 12 degrees below average. Raleigh's at 55, Fuquay and Garner 58 degrees, Chapel Hill checking in at 53. Labor Day, for some reason, everybody's always talking about grilling. I'm not complaining, right? Midday temperatures in the mid-70s. A perfect day to fire up the grill. By the afternoon, we're looking at highs in the upper 70s, a very similar feel to what we had out there yesterday afternoon. And then as we head into tomorrow morning, I know we got to go back to school. Temperatures at the bus stop, upper 50s and lower 60s, and then back in the upper 70s. But Summer is trying to weasel its way back into the forecast. I'll show you some of the new trends we're following this week coming up.
Sounds good, Chris. We'll come back to you in just a bit. A homicide investigation is happening after a man was found dead at the Burning Man festival in Nevada. That man was found lying on the ground in a pool of blood Saturday evening. The body was found during the burning of the large human-shaped sculpture at the center of that festival. Well, Burning Man said in a statement that it is cooperating with law enforcement in this. This morning, a person is dead and 3 others are seriously injured because a car crashed into a grocery outlet in Washington state. Now, the driver hit the front of the store and was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. 3 other bystanders were left in serious condition. 1 died on the way to the hospital, but it's unclear if those who were injured were the ones who the car hit or if they were inside the store. But local law enforcement is investigating the cause of the crash. Dramatic video shows a boy being rescued after he was found walking on closed monorail tracks at Hershey Park in Pennsylvania. You can see the crowd right there below, gathering there. We're about 20 feet below, in fact, shouting toward that boy. At one point, the boy stops to look down, and seconds later, a Good Samaritan climbed on a nearby roof and then onto the monorail to rescue that boy. Now, at first, the boy was reported missing after becoming separated from his parents. The park says that he, quote, entered a secured area for the monorail. A historic country club, in California is back open months after the Eaton fire there. Macy Jenkins spoke with members during the grand reopening celebration.
Nearly 9 months after the Eaton fire forced them to flee their community, the people of Altadena are back on common ground.
It's nice to see everybody who hasn't seen us in a very long time.
The Altadena Town and Country Club, founded in 1910, celebrating its grand reopening months ahead of schedule after its historic clubhouse was destroyed by flames in January.
First, there's more work ahead and construction will continue, but one thing is certain. This club is here to stay.
More than 700 club members and their families getting a first look at the renovated pool and tennis courts.
It will be a few years before a new clubhouse will rise from the ashes behind me, but our club will continue to flourish during these times ahead.
The disaster was a little different for everyone.
Yeah, we were out of the house for about 2 months. So we live about 4 blocks south of here. So we're one of the small communities around Altadena that actually did survive.
Well, we still don't live in our house, so we're in Highland Park.
But it seems these neighbors share the same vision for the outlook ahead, one full of hope and determination to see their streets come alive once again.
It feels good to be back and seeing the familiar faces, seeing our kids playing with their friends. It feels like having a good sense of community.
Before I got here, I drove around Altadena, and I've seen homes being rebuilt, foundations being poured. But today is a celebration. It's a celebration of hope and restoration, and I'm in for the long haul to get this done.
That was Macy Jenkins reporting. The rabies virus is popping up in animals like raccoons and foxes all across the country. In fact, Animal Services is setting traps for rabid skunks in Franklin County. The county's health director says it has already recorded 10 confirmed cases, and that is double the amount from this time last year. The CDC says bites from infected animals have killed 6 people in the last year, and there were no reported deaths in the previous 3 years. One person from Indiana got a series of rabies vaccines after she noticed she had bites on her skin.
I had a bite on my arm that I was reacting to in a very odd way. And then when there was a bat in my apartment the next day that needed to be caught, that's when I went and sought medical attention.
Officials say you should avoid animals behaving strangely and make sure your pets are vaccinated and their shots are up to date. Now, if you get bitten, you can call your local health department immediately. South Raleigh is serving up something new. Sanderford Road Park celebrated the grand opening of new pickleball courts this weekend. There are 10 new courts on site with lighting that stays on until at least 10 p.m. The courts are designed for players of all skill levels. Trainers hosted live demonstrations and offered free lessons to anyone interested in giving pickleball a try.
There's actually kind of a deficit of courts in the area. You go to like Method or Walnut and it's always kind of packed. So it's nice to have, there's a lot of new courts.
Pickleball is the fastest growing sport in America, according to the Sports and Fitness Industry Association. Hey, just a reminder, more law enforcement officers are patrolling the roads across the state right now, in fact. It's part of the governor's Highway Safety Labor Day Booze It and Lose It campaign. The goal is to minimize the number of impaired drivers on the road, and it's also to inform drivers about the risks of driving while under the influence. The increased patrols will run through Sunday. All right, so we're talking about pickleball. Plenty of people are probably going to be out there playing today, Chris. It's one of those days you want to get outside and enjoy this weather, but you also have those cooler temperatures still approaching.
It feels really good out there. You might need just an extra layer early this morning in Roxborough, especially at 50 degrees. Cary, Rocky Mount, Holly Springs at 56. Durham just below that at 55. Here's the reason for it. High pressure just to our north. You see it suppressing a lot of the moisture to the south, but that breeze out of the north and northeast is what's keeping temperatures below average for this time of year. So yes, we start out in the 50s. By 8 a.m. we're in the mid 60s, lunchtime in the mid 70s, and high temperatures today very similar to yesterday, where we reach the upper 70s, and then an early fall feel again first thing tomorrow morning. So at the bus stop you may need a long sleeve shirt, a hoodie, something to that effect. South Hill, Lewisburg 54, Benson 57, Fayetteville at 58 first thing tomorrow morning. And that early fall feel takes us through Wednesday, but then temperatures in the morning start to climb as we get closer to Friday and Saturday. And here's the reason for that. We've got this front that's coming through. Wind around it is going to come in from the southwest. So that's your warming breeze. That's your moisture for some scattered showers and storms Thursday. But here's what's different in the modeling is that our front is actually going to be a little bit farther to the west as we head into the weekend. So the bulk of cool air is going to stay over the Great Lakes, over the upper Midwest. So temperatures, whether they rise or fall, I know you guys are going to be with us through it all this week, and we appreciate you staying in tune to those updates because the weekend forecast is not set in stone because of that front, and things may change between now and then. For today, enjoy it. Like Chris was saying, if it's pickleball or taking a walk, today's the day to do it. Out the door the next few mornings, mid to upper 50s. You see a little bit of a warm-up Wednesday, still nice. Thursday, we're in the mid 80s, scattered storms, and making a run at the upper 80s as we get closer to the weekend. Last time we hit 90 degrees was a few weeks ago, so even upper 80s. It's going to feel pretty toasty out there.
We don't use the 9 number there, Chris. We'll just pretend that doesn't exist. All right, wreckage discovered 40 years since the Titanic was found at the bottom of the ocean. The vessel that helped make that discovery even possible. Plus, debut delayed. The fighting film pushed back its release. When you can expect the film in theaters. Giving you a live look at Chapel Hill this morning, and looks like there's somebody out there on the road, but as you're waking up, definitely feeling like fall with the temperatures that we're seeing. So whether you favor movies focused on fighting or feelings, David Daniel has something for you in today's Hollywood Minute.
Johnny Cage, you have been chosen to fight.
Tell me you're not some crazy fans.
Fans of Mortal Kombat will have to wait a bit longer for the next film in the franchise. Warner Brothers has pushed back the release of Mortal Kombat 2, which was originally due out this October. Carl Urban stars in the action flick, now due in IMAX and other theaters May 15th, 2026.
A really heavily steeped environment for maleness. There's no room to talk about feeling, no room to talk about sexual identity.
There was this tone of, I gotta prove that I'm a man.
They attended an elite all-male prep school in the late 60s and early 70s. Nearly 50 years later, during COVID, they reconnected over Zoom and opened up to each other as they never could as boys. One of the grads, Peter Jones, turned their emotional reunions into the documentary Fortunate Sons, which debuts Wednesday on PBS stations and PBS.org. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
So if you didn't know, today marks 40 years since explorers found the wreckage from the Titanic on the ocean floor. The vessel was discovered with the help of an unmanned submersible named Argo. The Argo sent photographs back to a research ship, and on September 1st, the submersible passed over one of the Titanic's massive boilers, 13,000 feet below the surface. Now, the next day, it discovered the body of the ship. The Titanic sank in 1912. You may recall, the movie James Cameron obviously did. He's made many, many trips to that vessel. It's just captured the attention of a lot of people. A time capsule Princess Diana left in the walls of a London hospital 6 years before her death was open. The hospital is going through renovations right now, in fact, and so workers had to tear down the wall where Diana placed the capsule. So they opened the container. In 1991, 2 children who won a contest on a TV show picked the items for the capsule. They included a solar-powered calculator, British coins, a sheet of recycled paper, a European passport, and a pocket television. A picture of Diana was also in that capsule. 1991, year was born. Oof, going back. People are out celebrating black culture this weekend at the African American Cultural Festival in downtown Raleigh. A little vibing here on a Monday morning. The entertainment lineup for the final day yesterday included DJ sets, club cardio, and comedy as well. The festival is an experience with family-friendly activities, visual artists, and craft and food vendors. A lot going on there. Ahead at 5 o'clock, stepping away. The interim president at St. Augustine's University is leaving as a new semester begins. The response from the university. Plus, the beginning of the Belichick era. UNC kicks off the football season tonight and what fans can expect ahead of the big game. Plus, dangerous food and drink. 5 on your side is warning you about product recalls that could sicken or even injure you and your family.